Hello everyone. As you might know, nowadays the front-end web development is very important in the software industry. Today's the objectives of this course is, at the end of this module, you'll be able to add hyperlinks and videos in a web page, and also we'll all write the code how to get the location, geographical location of your machine where you are located from Google Maps, and we'll give a brief introduction to CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and also we'll briefly discuss about what is the importance of background images, opacity of the images, and image sprites, and we'll give a brief introduction to JavaScript, and we'll go through how to create the web page and what are the different components of a web page. Let's start with what is HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So HTML has got the things called the tags. The tags are nothing but the paragraph, division, anchor. These are the different components of HTML. So these components are abbreviated using the characters or phrases like P, div, A, img, and so on. So these abbreviations are enclosed between angle brackets which are less than and greater than symbol. The web browsers like Google Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Internet Explorer, that is IE, Opera, and Safari browsers, they can read HTML page and display them. As you might be familiar with any websites, the website consists of many pages. Each web page is developed in a HTML, CSS, and it might contain JavaScript as well. The latest version of HTML standard is HTML5. 5 stands for version number. So, and this HTML5 has been officially standardized in the last week of October 2014. Until then, the HTML 4.1 was used. As you can see in this slide, generally HTML page consists of some images, text, and what is called the links. These links, they can be text links or they can be the image links. The purpose of this links on a web page is to navigate from one page to another page. As I said, the link can be active on a text or on an image. As you can see here in this slide, we are seeing HDFC Bank web page. Note that if you look today, the HDFC Bank page might look different, because when the slide was prepared, it was quite some time ago. At that time, the HTML page looked like this. As you can see here, the home, products, making payments, all these are the links. When you actually visit the HDFC Bank website and click on them, these links, it will take you to the other page. Let's look how to create these hyperlinks. So as you can see here in this slide, we are looking at a snippet of HTML code, and here the link which is displayed in blue color text, that is products, is one of the hyperlinks. Note that here in this menu bar we have got 5 hyperlinks, and what is displayed in the browser as a text, the link text, is products. But when you click on the products link, then the browser will take you to the URL link which is given in the href. Href stands for Hypertext Reference. Whenever you want to display a video or movie clip in an image, in a web page, then you use a video tag. Note that video tag is a tag which is standardized in HTML5. It was not present in HTML 4.1. The video tag is used for displaying a video. And for displaying the video, the browser needs to know where is the location of the video file and where it can get it from. That is specified in src attribute. Optionally, you can specify the width and height of the video when you specify the video tag. Note that HTML5 supports uploading of videos in multiple formats. Some of the formats are MP4, that is MPEG-4. You might have heard of MP3, which contains the audio file, audio content only, whereas the MP4 contains both audio and video. And there are other formats like WebM format and OGG format. Let us look at how to create the video link. Yeah. So this is the HTML file in which I have the video tag. Note that I defined the width and as well as the height. And note that another attribute called controls. This controls attribute will inform the browser to display the video controls, that is play button and stop button. We'll see briefly in the demo. And inside this video tag starts here, and this is the whole thing is the start tag, right from here to here, and video tag is ends here. Note that start tag and end tag, they should be matching. Most of the HTML tags will have the corresponding end tags, and there are a few exceptions like here source. Source tag will not have end tag. And within the video tag we define another tag which is source. In this source tag you specify what is the name of the file which needs to be displayed. Here I have got s.mp4 and means, note that here I have given a simple file name s.mp4. If you haven't specified the full path of this file, then it is taken relative to the document in which this is present. Means wherever this webinar video demo.html file is present, in the same directory it will look for file name by name s.mp4. And you have to specify what is the type of the video. Here we said the type of this file is video and it is in MP4 format. And note that here HTML has got the head section and body section. Whatever is the tags we specify within the body section, this is what gets displayed in the web browser. The head tag, most of the contents of the head tag will not be displayed. This is the meta information which is useful and used by the browser to display the content which is present in the body. As you can see here, inside the head tag there is a style tag definition. This is the starting of style tag and here is the end of the style tag. And for this video corresponds to the video tag here. For this video tag, what should be the style that should be applied is what is specified inside the style tags. And the style for video tag is specified within this start of the curly brace and end of the curly brace. And here background color, this is the attribute, and that attribute has been given a value. This is the color value. Similarly, what should be the border around the video element is defined in the border. Here we are displaying a border of thickness 1 pixel, which is solid, which is the same color as the background color, and that is a simple style we are defined here. And note that inside the body tag we defined the header or heading which is displaying the video, and below that we are defined the video element. So the purpose of this is to display the heading and the video element. Let us look at how this gets displayed. So I'm copying the full path of this file name, and for this purpose I'm using the Firefox browser. You can use any other browser. Only thing, if you use other browsers like Chrome, IE, so note that sometimes this file may not work in other browsers, then you may have to check and change the configuration settings. I'm opening in Firefox browser. You can see here this tag displaying video is taken from the H1 tag. H1 is stands for heading 1 tag. HTML5 has got H1, H2, H3, 4, 5 and 6, H6, the 6 header tags. And note that initially you will not be seeing anything. You see the controls here, the play button. So as soon as you click on this play button, the video starts playing. So you can see this, the video getting played. I'll pause it here. Hope you saw the video getting played. And let us see how these attributes, these are called attributes of that video tag. I'll change the attributes as like 400. This is 240. I'll keep everything same. So note that the size of the video will reduce. I'm refreshing now so that what are the updated attributes for width and height will get rendered again. You see here the video is smaller now and the video is playing again. I'll stop the video now. So you can see that as soon as you put the cursor on the video element, you will get the controls at the bottom. These are the video controls. You can increase the volume or mute it. You can see here, increase the volume, decrease the volume or increase the volume. And you can even maximize it to the full screen. Okay, and if you escape it, it will come back to the original size. And let us say for some reason you don't want to give the controls to the user, then remove this controls attribute. And now I'll refresh the page. Note that even if I put the cursor now, you're not seeing the. So the problem with this now is that now the user will not be able to say start the video and stop the video. So in such a case, so as soon as the page gets displayed, you should start playing the video. So that you should specify using the attributes in the video tag. So I'll just revert back. Okay, so now you'll see the controls again. So most of the time you should be having giving the controls, video controls or player controls to the end web user. So unless you have a special requirement that okay, you should not be giving the controls. So most of the time you should have the controls. Okay, let's go back to our slides. So this is the code which I demonstrated now, and we saw that video got played. And as you can see here, the width and height is given as 400 by 240, and so we have the same attributes here as well. And note that where it's always better, you should find out what is the width and height of the actual video which you are playing, and you should maintain the aspect ratio with which it has been recorded. If you don't maintain the aspect ratio, then you will see the video getting stretched along horizontal direction or vertical directions. Then it gives a very bad user experience to the end user. Hence, you should always maintain the aspect ratio of the video. The same thing is applicable for the images as well. So, let's move on to the next slide. So here we find out how to get the geographical location of a web user. So we can get this using the techniques like specifying the IP address or GPS hardware. So normally if you are connected to the internet through an internet service provider, most probably your device will have an IP address. Otherwise, so if you have a GPS enabled smartphone, then the GPS hardware will be able to give the physical geographical location where the device, it could be your laptop or it could be your smartphone, where that is located. So let us try to find the location of where I am present now using Google Maps, using HTML5 tags. So to get the current geographical location, we need to use what is called geolocation API, which is supported by HTML5. So there is a word of caution here. You should allow your physical geographical location only with the trusted websites. So in a Chrome browser, there's a special setting for this where you can configure whether you would like to share the physical location of yours with all the website, or whenever some website is checking where you are located, and then if you want the browser to prompt, and browser will prompt you. All these things you can set it in the settings of the Chrome browser. And we'll look at a web page. We'll create a web page wherein we can get the current location. So where I am present now, right now. Okay, let's look at the code. So once I'll show the code, then we'll come back to this slide. So this is the here. So this I'm opening in a notepad. So this is the code. You can see here. Note that in this HTML tag we have a head tag right from here to here, and we have the body tag. And inside the body tag we have a paragraph which says click the button to get your current coordinates, and then we are displaying next below it a button. So let's, rather than saying try it, let us say get location, geolocation. Okay. And note that this text is displayed as a button, and when you click on this button, this get location, this is a JavaScript method for function which gets called. And here I have a paragraph which is a demo, and I have the map holder. Note that here in this division the map where I'm located gets displayed. So let's go back to this get location method. So get location method here is specified right in this HTML page inside the head tag. Note that inside head tag we have any JavaScript which you would like to embed inside HTML page. It should always appear between script start tag and script end tag. Just like we have defined a style between style tags, and any JavaScript also should be enclosed between script tags. And here we have defined a variable x, and which gets, so this is the document which refers to this HTML document, and we are getting the HTML element by ID. So here you can see demo. This demo refers to this demo, which is identifier on the paragraph tag. once we get that access to that HTML element, so we store that object inside this X. So when this get location function is called, when this button is clicked, then whatever the body of this function gets executed. Note that the body of this function checks whether geolocation is supported by this browser or not, and if it's supported, then using the geolocation API, which is navigator.geolocation.getCurrentPosition. So this will get the current physical position of where I am speaking now. So that is from my apartment. I am giving this webinar. So the physical location of my apartment complex, my flat, is what is fetched, because most of the time this is accurate, and sometimes depending on the database which being used by this Geo API, there will be slight margin of error. So note that as soon as when this function is executed, so here we are setting basically whenever the current position is fetched, so we have to, so this function show position, that function is called. Note that show function is again defined below, and only if it is successful this show function is called. Let's say if there's an error in getting the physical location, and you can pass another function name which gets called as a, you have to give as a second argument, like error, like this error. This error also should be on the JavaScript function. So for simplicity, I'm just providing only the JavaScript function which should be called on successful fetching of geolocation. So this show position function has got one argument which is position. So when this API is called, the physical latitude and longitude coordinates where I'm located is basically stored in this position variable. So note that inside this, I have just commented one line. I'll come to that, and yeah, let me just comment this first. So I would like to display this. So X is the demo element which corresponds to this paragraph. Note that this paragraph does not contain any content here. So this is empty. Right? And so when this function is called, so you would like to display latitude from this position variable, and inside that there is the coordinates, and coordinates has got two values, latitude and longitude. So latitude will display it like this, and we are going to the next line, and longitude also will display, and which is also in the same position coordinate and longitude. This is a code. So let's look at how this geolocation API works. I'm now copying the full path of this HTML file and going and opening in my favorite Firefox browser. Note that here you can see the message, which is click the button to get your coordinates. This paragraph is displayed here, and this button element is displayed, which has got the get geolocation is displayed as a button. So I will click on the get location button. So note that most of the browsers will display some warning messages like this, or you might go and change in case of Chrome, you have to go and change the location settings. So here I said I am permitting it to share the location. it's getting the location. I think some reason it's not working. Let me just display the image directly. Yeah, so I'll just refresh the page. You can see here now. So this image is fetched from the Google Maps API. So as you can see here, I'm located in Uttarahalli in Bangalore. So if you look at this code, you can see here we are basically composing the latitude, comma, and longitude. Okay, and then we are creating an image URL which is http and which maps.googleapis.com, and so maps directly, said APIs directly, and we are calling static maps. And to this static maps page, we are sending the different attributes or argument parameters. That is center, which to center equal to, and we have to give the latitude and longitude, which has been fetched from the geolocation API. So this latlang, basically it's a string you are concatenating here. The plus is a string concatenation operator in JavaScript. And then we would like to zoom, specify the zoom parameter which is 14, so that the image is visible, sufficient enough so that we can read the text. And we can specify what is the size of the image. Here this is 400 by 300 pixels. This is the width is 400, the height is 300 pixels. And another argument is sensor is equal to false. So once this image URL is composed, then you can, here I'm creating the image tag. So image tag, for the image tag I'm specifying a source attribute. In the source attribute, what are the URL which I composed here in the image URL, that is the URL for this image is specified as the value for the source tag, and I close the image tag here. And what is the whole string, you assign it to inner.html, which specifies the content of the map folder element. Here the map folder element is given, map folder is given as the identifier on a div tag. So note that this div tag does not contain any content here. When you specify set the inner.html, so this image tag which is composed here in this statement gets inserted in here, wherever this place, whatever is marked. In this place, this image tag gets inserted dynamically. Once that insertion of element happens, now the browser will send a HTTP request with this URL which is composed in this statement, and then gets the image from the googleapis.com, which is the API for Google Maps, and that image is what is displayed in the browser now. So this is how you can get the geolocation and display your physical location. You might have seen that many of these websites nowadays, whenever any enterprise or any company, if they would like to give the physical location of their office, then they use the Google Maps API and they get their physical location like this and then display the image. Let's go back to our slides. Note that in this demo we use get element by ID function. So here this is a JavaScript function which takes an argument, the identifier. You can see here the identifier here specified is the demo. The demo, it should match here the identifier on this paragraph tag. And there's another function, getLocation function. Okay, inside the getLocation function, this is the user-defined function, getLocation. And inside that, I'm using getCurrentPosition, which is the geolocation API. And note that it takes two arguments. So success, the function which should be called unsuccessful fetching of the current position, and if there's an error in getting the geolocation, then error function is called. Just to keep it simple, to demonstrate, I just use only success function. And note that once I get the image gets displayed as the content of this division, which is the map folder. So that is this one. Note that initially when in this HTML file, and we have not defined the sub elements inside this div element, but that sub elements, that is the image element, is the sub element of this div elements, which gets created on the fly dynamically and gets inserted when the user clicks on the get location button, as you have seen a few minutes ago. This is how we can get the geographical location from the IP address. So just to give an idea, the way this geolocation works is the geolocation API can read my IP address of my laptop, and it provides that to the geolocation database and does the lookup, and based on the location, the lat long based on my IP address, it can detect where I'm located, geographical latitude and longitude, the coordinates, and returns those values in the position variable. So once you get the latitude, longitude, you can access using the latitude and longitude. It is that simple. Let's go back to our slides. So this is the same code which I demonstrated, has been given here. So I'll skip this because I already explained this part of the code. So you can see here, this is the image we got. So this is what you are seeing is now in the slides, but the same thing I demonstrated in the browser, Firefox browser. If you take this the same HTML page, and if I go to different location, and if I render it in a browser, you will get a different image depending on where you are physically located. Now let's briefly look at about CSS. The CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. CSS is meant for providing the style, the look and feel of HTML elements. Generally, if you specify the styling inside the HTML, so it is always present between style tag, style start tag, and style end tag. The style can also be specified in external file. So that will be covered in the full course. The current version of CSS is CSS version 3, which is in short called CSS-3. The use of CSS in HTML makes a web page looks effective and more attractive to the end users. If you don't specify the styling, then it'll look very simple. Like you can see here, this text is very simple. But if you want to use a different font size, a different color, and different styling, then you have to specify that in the CSS style sheets. If you're familiar with the older version of HTML, then you might be seeing that some of these styles are specified as attributes on the HTML tag, the tags itself, the HTML element tags. But I mean, that's not the modern way of specifying the styles. So in older versions like HTML2 and version 3, so the style information was also present as the attributes in the element tags. But after CSS style specification came into popular use, then all the styles has been specified in the CSS. The older version of CSS is CSS 2.1 and the latest one is CSS version 3. If you download the latest version of any of the browsers which we talked, like Chrome, Firefox, IE, most of these browsers, they do support the HTML5 and CSS-3 to a different extent. Note that CSS specification, HTML5 specification is very huge, and the vendors like Google, Microsoft, and Mozilla, and they're taking time to develop the features which have been defined in the specifications. Hence, it might be quite possible that some of the features in CSS3 which are present, which might be working in a browser, like let's say Chrome browser, but it may not work on IE or Firefox or Opera browser, because there is slight lag in the development of these browsers. Let's move to the next slide. So let's talk about how to use the background images. As you can see here, this is an example here. Let me directly go to the code so that you can understand better. So this is a demo code, and here you can see again, as usual, it has got the head element and the body element, and inside the body element I have specified in heading 2, which displays the text. This is the demo for setting the background image, and for this heading 2 I defined a style here. Note that this heading 2 H2 and this H2 should match, means the style defined here will be applicable for all the heading 2 tags. So here I want the font size to be 40 pixels and the text should be aligned in the center. And note that this body is also a tag. For the body element, I'm defining a background. So here I'm defining a Edureka PNG, which is the Edureka logo. So Edureka logo is here. So this is the Edureka logo. You can see at the bottom. So this is the Edureka logo. This is a PNG file. So let's look at, let me take this full path of this file and render it in the browser. So I'm copy pasting it, rendering it. As you can see here, this text demo for setting the background image. So this is specified in the heading 2, that is displayed, and since I specified the background image for the whole body tag corresponds to everything. So right from the left top corner to the right bottom corner, this whole thing is the space utilized by the body tag. So in this body tag, the real estate space, the image Edureka has been displayed. Note that Edureka image is very small compared to the window or the browser. So by default it repeats along the horizontal direction and also vertical direction. And if you resize the browser, so accordingly it gets rendered. You can see here, you can make it as bigger as smaller as you want. Note that when I resize it, the this text is always centered. Okay. Now let us just go and change the text alignment to left. Means now I want alignment to be done to the left side of the window. Let me just observe this text, and I'm refreshing this page, and you can see that okay, it aligns to the left side of the window. You can see here it moved to the left side. Similarly, you can change this to right, and which gets aligned to the right side. Let me refresh it again. See here, now it's aligned with the right side of the window. Note that even if you resize it accordingly, it's always is right aligned. You can see here, the text is always right aligned. Okay, so that's how we can use images to set the background of the browser window. Let's look at another CSS property image called opacity. Opacity gives the transparency to the image. The opacity value can be from 0 to 0.0 to 1.0. When you specify 0.0, the image is not displayed. So if you want the image to be displayed, then you should give a small value. It could be, let's say, 0.1. If you give a value of 0.5 for the opacity value, then the image is displayed with 50% transparency. If you give the value as 1.0, then image is displayed with the complete original image is displayed. So opacity is used generally to give some effect on the image. So sometimes you might want to look, say, reduce the opacity so that it looks different from the rest of the images. Let's look at some code. So this is the code. I'll go back to the code again. Here, I'm taking this opacity code and opening it in my favorite text window. So this is the code, which is very similar. Here, note that again in the head tag, I defined the style for the image, and inside the body tag, I defined an anchor, which has got a hypertext reference to an URL. Note that here I would like to give a reference to the front-end web development course, which is hosted on Edureka site, and I would like to give the image, which is Edureka image. And whenever you can hover it, so by default, as soon as the image is rendered, the image is displayed with opacity 0.2. And when I hover it, hover means when I move the cursor on the image, so then this style is applied. So then opacity is set to 1.0, means the image is displayed with full intensity. If you move the cursor out of the image, then again this style is applied, which will display the image again with 0.2 opacity. Yes, as I said, we will use the same Edureka logo. So let me take the full path of this file and then display in the browser. So I'm displaying it here. You copy paste into this browser URL window, and so now that Edureka, the intensity of the Edureka image is, you can see, light blue color. When I move the cursor, you see here, this changes to thick blue color. When I move out the cursor, again it changes. This is how you can dynamically change the intensity of the image that is getting displayed. Anywhere on the image, if the mouse cursor is present, the hover style is applied. Once the mouse cursor moves out of this image, then the opacity within value 0.2 is displayed. So this is the same code which I demonstrated just now. So this is, you can see here, so this is image which has got lesser opacity value, probably again 0.2 or 0.3, and the right hand side you can see the image which is with full intensity. And CSS has also got a concept called image sprites. Note that a website will have a lot of images which could be very small, like as you can see here, the left hand arrow, the home icon, and the right hand arrow image. So when you have such small images inside a web page, note that for each image, web browser will send a HTTP request to the backend web server and fetches it. Note that if you have a lot of small images, making a separate HTTP request to the backend server will delay rendering of the page, and also it will put the load on the backend web server. To avoid this, so the image sprite concept has been introduced. In this image sprite concept, all the small images which are being used in the website are all put in only one image file, and then wherever you would like to display only a small portion. For example, here this image file contains 3 sub images: left arrow image, home image, and right arrow image. And note that you would like, in some places you want to go create a link where for going to the previous page you want to show only left side of this image, left portion. And when you want to go to the home of the page, then you would like to display only the middle image. When you want to go to the next page, you would like to display only the right portion of the image. So note that the purpose of this image sprite is when browser sends a request to the backend server, web browser gets all these 3 sub images as one image file. But when it is rendering, it will display only a portion of this image file, so at the relevant places only that relevant image, could be left arrow, home image, or right arrow image are displayed. So that way the rendering of a page will be very fast, because it is just sending only one request to the backend server, and it is getting all the small images as one image file. So that is only one HTTP request. And since the web server also will be lightly loaded, because now it has to serve only one request. Note that small images, but if you're making multiple requests, it will heavily load the web server. But if you have even a bigger image, which is of the order of few hundreds of kilobytes, but all of them are present in one, but for a web server it is just one request, and that way web server will get lightly loaded. So this is the purpose of image sprite. As we're running out of time, I will not be demonstrating this. Here you can see the code here, and I'll just explain how these image sprites are used. So you have to specify the left attribute from which the image has to be displayed as a left property, and how much should be the image. So that is specified in the width attribute in the CSS style, and whatever the image that should be displayed is specified as the background image, and here you can specify the pixels. Let's look at the JavaScript. JavaScript, generally when it is run in a browser, it runs in a single threaded environment. That means, so first whatever is specified in the JavaScript, that code is executed, and only then it completes execution of that, only then the browser will get control back. Sometimes this might be very irritating to the end users. So in HTML5 and in the newer version of JavaScript, a concept of web workers has been introduced. With web workers, now JavaScript can have a background task running, so that the front end, the web page, can be accessed as usual. So that if you are doing anything in the front end side, you don't have to wait until the background task gets completed, because the background task now runs in a web worker. So let us look at a code. So here I have code for a web worker. Note that here this is also again HTML page. In the same HTML page, I have embedded the JavaScript code here. So this JavaScript page displays small text called counting numbers, and then output is displayed in this output tag. I have two buttons, so which is for starting the web worker, second is stopping the web worker. And when you click on this start web worker, so whatever is the JavaScript function that is specified in the onClick attribute, this gets called. And whenever you click on stop worker, the stop worker function gets called. So the start worker and stop workers are defined here. So this is the start worker. Here you can see you will check whether the web workers feature has been supported by the browser or not. So if the type of worker returns undefined, then it is not supported in the browser. And then here, once you know that the web workers feature is supported by the browser, then we go ahead and then create a worker function, worker object. So worker object takes the JavaScript code which should be executed in the background. So here this is specified in the webworker.js. So whenever there is once this web worker is started, whenever there is a message to that web worker, then this onMessage function gets called. In this function, so you get the result element, which is here, this output tag, and to the result element you set the inner HTML as the event data. Event data will contain what has been the message that has been posted by this web worker. Let's say if the browser does not support the web workers, then this message is displayed. Sorry, no web worker support in the browser. Here in the browser. And whenever you want to stop the web worker, just call. So note that when you created the web worker, that object is stored in variable w, and on the w you just call the terminate function and you set it to undefined, so that it does not contain, it does not point to any other object. Let's look at this, how this code works. I'm copying the full path to the clipboard and rendering in the browser. You can see here count numbers, next to it here is nothing is displayed. I'm going to start the web worker. I'm clicking on the start worker. You can see the number is changing every 1 second. See, now it's 10 is displayed, and now I'm stopping the worker. Now it's stopped. Let's say if you want to change, you might be wondering, how am I controlling how fast the image has to be, this count has to be displayed. So that is there in this web worker class. Note this webworker.js is specified here. So webworker.js is another file in which you specify the JavaScript code for the web worker. Note that in this thread you define a variable, you initialize it to 0, and then so here you are calling the timed count function. This timed count function, the body is defined here. Here you are incrementing the I value, and then that I value you are posting in as a message to the caller. Then you set a timeout function as 1000 milliseconds. Here the second argument has to be specified in milliseconds. Let's say now let me change it to 100 milliseconds. And now let's refresh it. Note that nothing is displayed. Now I am starting a worker now. You can see now the numbers are changing very fast. Now the numbers are changing for every 100 milliseconds. That is, in 1 second you will be seeing about 10 numbers. I'm stopping the web worker now. Okay, so this is how. Note that let me stop here. Let me start again. So note that the numbers are being displayed by the front-end browser, and actual incrementing is happening in the web worker. That way, the incrementing the number and displaying of the number in the browser are two separate threads, and they are executed parallelly. I'm stopping the worker now. Let's go back to the slides. And this code is a little different from what I demonstrated. So I thought of demonstrating by the incrementing of numbers will be better. That's why I demonstrated using the incrementation of numbers rather than just displaying a pop-up message. But the concept is the same. So this is the code, similar code which I already explained. Note that here the web worker code is specified in internal file.js. Rest of the code will be more or less same. So here this is the explanation for the previous code which is there in the slide, but I already explained what this code does. Here in this start worker is the button which starts the worker, and stop worker button stops the web worker. The similar explanation is given here. Note that when you use that code, and you will get the display like this: big loop, say hello, and stop. And so this will be the output. Yeah. So now in this webinar, you have seen what are the different concepts you need to learn to develop a website. So generally, the website will contain different sections. So section could be header section, and a navigation, left side menu section, and in the middle you will display some content, and right side you will be displaying some advertisements or some other information, and you will have a footer section. This is the general structure of a web page. As an example, let's go back and look at our Edureka website. You can see here the top you have the rank number 1 in Dualite Technology Fast 50 India 2014. So this portion is the header section. This one. The navigation menu, and you can see here this is the top navigation menu, and you have the left side navigation menu as well. So this is also navigation menu. So this is the left side menu section. So this portion, and you have the middle and right side sections as well. So what you see here, this portion is the middle section, and what you see here, the right hand side, this is the right hand section. And the footer section is displayed at the bottom. You can see here, all this is the space where some users have given the comments is in the center. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, so this will be the here where the brain for age education and these navigation links at the bottom of the page constitutes the footer section of this web page. Yeah, so here is the snapshot of image wherein in this web page, so this portion which is indicated in the red rectangle, this is the header portion, and the left hand side, so this red rectangle is the left section menu, and this one Apache Storm paragraph is the middle section. On the right hand side, so there is some advertisement. So you can see here one rectangle at the bottom of the page of this web page, so that constitutes the footer of this web page. Okay. So do you have any questions now? So since this is a webinar, if in the actual course, the questions will be taken from the end users or course participants. Thank you.